Refugees and immigrants are not a burden. They are a blessing. They are bringing social, cultural, and economic values to our communities and our nation. Hey, I'm Drocella Mugorewera, and I'm also known as the Diversity Trust Builder because as a former refugee transplant from Rwanda to America, I have learned the trials and tribulations of fitting in and being different. And I learned that experience is a great asset for companies. I have created the Diversity in Action global movement and a framework to help leaders to eliminate employee turnover by increasing revenues up to 50% and turning their employees into loyal ambassadors of their company. Why this topic matter to me? Besides talking about diversity, equity, inclusion, and accessibility, I also talk about resilience and refugee and immigrant integration. I help these companies and communities through speaking and coaching. So, and it has been a pleasure even to educate people around refugees and immigrants because uh, many people do not have that experience. Imagine as a parent leaving behind your 12 years old daughter, her siblings, my husband, and everything I invested in for more than 40 years. I didn't even have a clue that I would see my children again. I just relied on God's mercy to reunite our families. And I'm grateful that America facilitated the family reunification after 2 years of arrival in America. Today, we'll cover the myths and misconceptions around refugees because many people hear in the news and what is not true and they think wellness from within for me is tell the truth. It's to be a welcomer. It's to treat people the way you want to be treated. And this is the golden rule for embracing the talents, the skills, the perspective, and for people who are coming to us. So refugees, who are refugees? Refugees are people who are fleeing their homeland because of persecution based on race, religion, ethnicity, political opinion, and they are escaping wars and violence. As an example, I originally from Rwanda, Burundi, Congo, Sudan, Somalia, Syria, Afghanistan, Ukraine. There are many countries torn by wars and violence, and people have to flee. And I want to say that America is one of the countries that committed to the 1951 Refugee Convention. So they adhered to that convention and committed to provide safety to refugees. I would like to hear this more from the leaders because sometimes there is a confusion as if America didn't commit to that. And also from 1980, America voted for a refugee act to welcome refugees. I'm curious, do you know if there are refugees who are settled in your community? What are the countries? And when those agencies started to reschedule to resettle refugees in those communities? In my case, in Knoxville, Tennessee, the agency that is there started in 1982. Sometimes when people say, oh, there is a refugee crisis, I say, it has been there for many years. And not knowing about it, is having curiosity to know about it, and then to see how you can help. So now I promise to tackle the myths and misconceptions around refugees. Some people say, oh, refugees are a threat to our security. I want to tell you the truth as one guiding principles for wellness from within. The truth is that refugees are not a threat to our security because they are fleeing for their security. And the normal refugee, by definition, they are seeking safety. So there is no way they can harm the security of the people that are welcoming them. And I want to say that refugees are the most screened populations that are coming to USA. When I was back in Rwanda as a former member of parliament and government, I traveled in America on a diplomatic passport. And when I started my refugee journey, I did all the screening process like any other refugee to show you that it's a rigorous screening system that is there, because Americans also, and I thank those Americans working in the screening process, because they care about your security, they care about your safety. So the second myth is that refugees are coming to take resources. Refugees are not takers, they are contributors. And the studies are there showing that what the government, the host country invests in refugees, what they contribute forward is bigger than the investment the government made in refugees. I can give an example. I'm a consultant and I did different jobs for 15 years since I arrived in this country. And my contributions are bigger than what the government invested in me. And my niece is a flight attendant. So the contribution, we're all contributing together, including my husband, is more than what the government invested in us. So our refugees, they are paying taxes. And this is something people do not know. They have a right to work, and then they pay taxes like any other citizen or permanent resident. And the second myth is people saying that, oh, refugees are on government benefits forever. That is also not true. The refugee resettlement program is a public and private partnership. So we rely on communities, welcoming communities. This is why volunteers do a lot of work, and I'm thankful for all the case managers, social workers, and the donors and the volunteers who contributed to my refugee integration, and as well as my family members. So within 90 days, there are people who already are economically sufficient so they can pay their bills. And the social workers who are there help refugees to find jobs. It's one of the responsibilities they have, because there are three pillars of refugee integration: learn the language, being employed if you are able, and then get connected to your community as soon as possible. And this is why we value also the welcoming communities, because refugee integration cannot happen if we don't have strong welcoming communities. And there is a new program, so the refugee private sponsorship, I am blessed to be an ambassador for, where 5 volunteers can commit time and money to help refugees to integrate in their communities within 90 days. So you can connect if you need more information. And but I wanted to show that No, we are not coming to take resources. We are givers. And I want also to tell the truth that sometimes we do the job regular citizens do not want to do because we don't have family members to rely on. We have to take those jobs. I want to say that when I came, uh, even if my first job didn't match my credentials and my experience, I did start with $6.55 an hour at Goodwill Industries. And after 45 days of arrival, I want to say that the refugee resettlement model is like an economic model for low income and other marginalized population. If you give them the seeds and the technical support, they do well and they sustain their families. So for those three myths about the safety, the security, the danger to our security, coming to take resources, there are plenty of resources for veterans, for disabled people, for poor people, for marginalized population. So if we serve them, serving refugees is putting in place or implementing the commitment we did make as a country, because America is one of those countries who committed to give protection to refugees. And I wanted to see that you can share the stories of the people you know who are contributing to this economy and what you learned from them, because the refugee stories also have healing power. And when you befriend refugees, you become like partners forever. The people who welcomed me became my friends, and sometimes they call on me and I call on them. So we can do things together and they learn about my culture, the cuisine, the music. So these are the values we are bringing to the new communities where we are. So the refugee resettlement program is a good economic model for the low income and other marginalized populations. And we have to remember that sometimes we do those jobs because the citizens do not want to do the jobs. And I want to ask you, if, for example, now there's a threat and we have to run away, so you have one close on you, maybe you have just your cell phone and you run away, or you have a credit card on you, you will not be able to use it in the bushes. So you will rely on welcoming communities to provide shelter, food, healthcare, and that is a humanitarian program. The refugee settlement is a public and private program. It's not a political program. So we have to treat those people like us because they have same desires and aspirations like us. And I want to say during this time of uh, workforce shortage, refugees and immigrants are a big resource. And I invite companies to also leverage the languages refugees speak and provide opportunities for existing employees who want to learn another language, to give them opportunities to learn the language so they can attract more clientele, but they can also build unity and cohesion within their teams, because it's good to learn English, but also to learn other languages spoken by your staff members. So I have a resource on my website that can help companies to see how they can leverage language diversity to make profit and to succeed. So one of the things I wanted to share also is how you can help refugees. I think the first thing is to be educated, be aware of those communities in your neighborhoods, in your communities, those populations, and then to learn about them, learn about the resettlement agencies that are there and the needs, because they rely mostly on volunteers and the donations and the treasure and the time of those volunteers, and you can be one of them. You can be a tutor You can help with transportation because they need to go to work. Sometimes they are in a place when the transportation is not well organized. You can help them to go to the doctor's appointment, and you can help them to integrate in your community, show them the resources around so they can get acclimated as soon as possible. And when they get acclimated as soon as possible, this is how they start to give forward. And I'm grateful that this program exists, and I want many organizations to leverage this population that are coming to us and who have a lot to bring to our communities. And one of the things that people sometimes do not value is the resilience. The stories of refugees, they have healing power. They went under a lot of traumatic situation, and the resilience they have can enlighten you if you are going through different challenges. And helping refugees is something you will be always proud of, and you will build a relationship that will stay forever. You will learn about the cuisine, you will learn about the music and the games they play. I was hearing that when I came to America, I didn't understand the football. When they talk about the football, I thought it was soccer. So there are some cultural exchange that can happen between you and the people you lead. And I hope that these explanations are showing and bringing clarity to different questions you heard about refugees and immigrants. And as I said, I want many leaders to talk about the American commitment to support and welcoming refugees and to provide basic needs. Refugee settlement is not a political program. It is a humanitarian program where they assist people who are fleeing persecution based on race, religion, ethnicity, political opinion, or they are escaping wars and violence to resettle in the countries that are welcoming them so they can be like regular citizens, provide for their families, but also to contribute to the communities. This is untapped solutions for the workforce shortage we are facing now. So if you are an employer, look into your community about where the refugees and immigrants are. You can find different talents and then help your employees who want to learn the language, provide the infrastructure so they can learn the language, and then they can help each other and create unity among your workforce. And so you can thrive. And I believe that when our businesses thrive, our community thrive, and vice versa. If you want to learn more about refugees and immigrants, you can reach out to me at Drocella360.com, DROCELLA.com, Drocella360.com. And then we can have more conversation about how I can come and speak to your community, or if you have questions that are not answered, I will be always there to answer the question you may have. And I thank you for listening. Again, leading with empathy and willingness from within is being a welcomer. And I count you as welcomer, ambassador of diversity in action. So welcoming those refugees and immigrants in our communities is about diversity in action. Thank you. I'll talk to you soon.